been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion? How, Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion? Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion? How was your Mr. Politician? It's good to see you.
3.3 FM, and it's lovely to have you tuned to today's very station this morning. It's Monday, the 9th of October 2023, and we're reaching you live from the city of Jos, Plateau State, Nigeria, the home of peace and tourism. Don't forget, Unity 93.3 FM is that voice of reason. And so, today in the studio, just like always, this first segment of Unity Train is that moment with which we get to look at issues as we have them on our national dailies. And I have in the studio an in-house analyst and political scientist, Mr. Shaibu Doro, is with me. I'll let him say a very big good morning to you, our listener and our viewer.
Thank you, Kulbi. It's a pleasure to join you on this platform, after a beautiful weekend. Good morning, viewer and listener. Thank you very much for always being there. We hope you actually had a very splendid weekend. We look forward to another interesting interaction, as we have always done. Thank you for staying tuned.
All right, in the studio, though he might not be saying a lot this segment, but of course, if you let me just introduce him. He is Malam Muhammad Jos, geographer, blogger, and a social commentator. He's in the studio too. I'll let him say good morning to you, our viewer, and our listener.
Thank you very much. Good morning, sir.
Oh, thank you. Later on, he'll be speaking, and we'll get to know some more about the colored rain we had last week. So if you want to know why and is there any effect to that, just stay tuned. When we get there, our guest will take us on the right at that moment. But at the moment, let's just go to seeing what we have on our national dailies. Mr. Shaibu,
yes.
This has to do with Israel's Palestine conflict, how attacks on Al-Aqsa Mosque other triggers crisis around. And so we begin with international
issues,
and yes, of course. And so what have we to do here, because we have a lot and lots more. Yes,
definitely. Yeah, well, could be first of all, let me confess that is very, very tragic, isn't it? Because I think at this point in time, and given how much civilization, how much enlightenment and how much development has actually taken place, politically, economically, socially, and otherwise, one would ordinarily have thought that by now the world should actually have outgrown such tendencies and all of that. In other words, one would ordinarily have expected that by now the world should actually have gone past issues of international wars, international conflicts, and things like that. Although I do appreciate, like experts would always say, that conflict is something that is inevitable, as far as international relations, is concerned, and things like as far as international relations are concerned, and all of that. But I think also that by now, given, like I did say, how much civilization, how much, more enlightened the world actually has become, economically and otherwise, one would actually or ordinarily expect that large-scale conflicts such as the one going on between, Israel and Palestine should no longer happen, and all of that. But surprisingly, some of these things have continued to persist, and apparently the world seems clueless as far as nibbling some of these issues in the bud are actually concerned, and that's actually a great source, a great cause for concern, could be, because I feel that the world should ordinarily have no business with wars, because like Pope Francis would always say, it's an evil wind that blows no one any good. This is the issue, and at this point in time, countries like Nigeria and other underdeveloped countries around the world are contending with issues of militancy, terrorism, insurgency, banditry, and all of that. This is the issue. I had thought that by now countries should be talking about how to mobilize voices to actually address some of the domestic problems that developing countries are facing, because at the end of the day, I feel that the whole idea behind establishing some supranational institutions like the United Nations is to actually be able to bequeath a peaceful world to the millions of people or the billions of people around the world. But that seems elusive as far as some of these on the basis or on the evidence of some of these recurrent happenings and things like that. Now let's come back to the crux of the matter. Since Saturday, just a few days ago, about 1,000 people are said to have actually died as a result of an attack launched by the armed wing of the Hamas group, which of course has been in the forefront of the war between Palestine and of course Israel. In other words, the armed wing of the Hamas group has been championing the cause of Palestine. You understand? As far as its a confrontation with Israel is concerned, and all of that. And so in a sudden twist of events, a certain attack was actually carried out or launched on Israel, by the Hamas group, and all of that. And of course, Israel immediately responded, with force and things like that. And as a result of that, about 1,000 civilians, were said to have actually died, and all of that. 450 or thereabout on the part of, Palestine, and then about 700 on the part of Israel, and things like that. And then, of course, about, 1,200 are said to have been injured on the part of Palestine, and another 1,000 plus something also injured on the part of Israel. So you can see there have been casualties on both sides and things like that. This is the issue. Now, if you ask me, could be, why has the Israeli-Palestine war actually persisted? It could be. It's a question.
Very long time.
Yeah, it has. And it's a question to which, the world actually has to find some answer. This is the issue. I do understand from the little facts I've been able to stumble on that this war has raged uninterruptedly, for about 75 years, beginning from 1967. This is the issue. And the question has actually been, who actually is the legitimate owner of Palestine? Who actually is the legitimate owner of the Gaza Strip? This has been the bone of contention. This is the issue. But of course, if the facts available to the world, are anything to go by, I think we should not even be asking the question, who actually owns Palestine, and things like that. Because the world knows, and historically it has been established, that Palestine is a territory that had been occupied for hundreds of years, even before, the advent of Israel. This is the issue. But of course, one thing happened, one thing led to another politically and all of that, and then all of a sudden, Palestine was actually said to have been bequeathed to Israel and things like that. And there are people who have even attributed some religious factors to the entire thing, and all of that. Israel has continued to claim that biblically speaking, it actually has a divine mandate to actually occupy the particular place, and things like that. But it is a place that had been occupied by certain people for hundreds of years, even before you came there, and things like that. And so I don't see how all of a sudden a place that had been that had been occupied for hundreds of years by a certain people suddenly becomes home to a certain people, and another. I mean, how it suddenly metamorphosed into a home for a certain people who actually came 100 years later, and things like. I think at the end of the day, I feel that partisan or political, factors have actually interfered with this whole thing. This whole issue, and so the world is seemingly confused as to what to even do to address the entire issue and things like that. This is the issue. I'm aware of a certain Balfour Declaration. I can't remember the year the declaration was actually made, but I do remember that a certain individual by the name Balfour actually decided to, in fulfillment of a certain promise it had made to Israel, actually hand over, the Palestinian territory to Israel. This is the issue. And so that is also why the world actually has continued to believe that Britain has played a role in actually igniting this inferno that is now threatening to consume, people on both the part of Israel and the part of Palestine, and things like that. I don't see how you can just wake up one morning and say, I have given or dashed this particular place to this particular set of people. It doesn't actually happen. This is the issue. So I think, at the end of the day, the whole world has seemingly become divided as far as this whole issue is concerned. I did mention something last week that it is unfortunate that peoples around the world, especially in religiously charged countries like Nigeria, are giving the whole issue a religious coloration, and it doesn't make sense. This is the issue, because at the end of the day, I do agree that.
Okay, Doro, when you mention given the whole issue or situations, religious colorations, so what are some of those elements that possibly make it look like color it to be like a religious kind of situations to
I stumbled on some comments yesterday on Facebook where some Muslims are sort of identifying or sympathizing with Palestine. And then I also stumbled on a certain comment where a certain Christian was actually also praying for Israel and things like that. And then I'm asking the question, when did it become a religious war? This is purely a political situation. I think this has been our bane in this country. We just want to always give religious colorations to everything. And then eventually end up actually setting each other on a collision course and things like that. This is the issue. Now, like I've always maintained, Israel is not even a Christian society. It's a Jewish society, isn't it? And even some Christians in Israel have actually been subjected at some points to persecution by Jews, because there's this ideological rivalry between Jews and Christians, and they virtually don't even see eye to eye. This is the issue. So I think that the Jews are enemies to both Muslims and Christians. And so if you're beginning to throw your weight behind certain things that, Israel is doing, I don't even know what the justification might actually be. This is the issue. So we have to be careful how we actually go about, some of these issues.
There is actually no justifications to, just having to kill anyone for whatever reason. So there is no justification. Even as we rise to condemn such, it should not be on the basis of because we affiliate ourselves with certain religion or the other. Definitely. It is because we condemn in as much as human life is involved in these, and so let's rise up and then condemn it, either from the Israel side or the
in fact, I want to even add here, and I love what Pope Francis has actually said. I love what the Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugar, has also said. Peoples around the world, people of conscience around the world are actually calling on, the United Nations, and other prominent global actors to find a way to address this problem, because, like I just mentioned, Israel has lost, civilians. Palestine has also lost civilians. So at the end of the day, there have been casualties on both sides. And as long as this war will actually go on, there will continue to be casualties on both sides. This is the issue. That's what I'm talking about. But of course, like I did mention earlier, there seems to be some hypocrisy even on the part of certain global actors as far as addressing this issue is concerned. Perhaps it's translating into certain strategic benefits to certain countries somehow, and that is why nobody seems genuinely interested in finding a lasting solution to the whole problem. This is the issue. We do know that, of course, when Donald Trump held sway as U.S. president, of course, he was always vocal, on his support for Israel, and things like that. So now we have, a certain lapdog United States of America actually throwing its weight behind, even after in the aftermath of this particular attack on Israel by Hamas, that resulted in the loss of lives and things like that. America immediately issued, a statement through its president Joe Biden to the effect that the United States of America will be sending multiple warships to Israel to actually support its, punitive action against Palestine. This is the issue. So you can then see that apparently the United States of America is behind Israel in this, number one. And then on the part of Palestine, of course, even the Israeli ambassador to Nigeria actually did mention, I think yesterday or the day before, that he actually suspects, in fact, he didn't even use the word suspect, I say he was convinced that Iran is actually behind, Hamas's attack on Israel. You understand? This is the issue. So if Iran is behind, the attack on Israel, or if, Iran, has actually, extended some military support to Hamas, which made it possible for it to be able to launch a large-scale and a very devastating attack on Israel, it actually then means that, on one hand, the United States actually, has got the back of Israel, and then on another hand, Iran has got the back of Palestine. This is the issue. And so a situation where you see countries, and that is the dimension, the whole issue, the whole situation is now taken.
Yes.
You understand? It is actually dividing countries against each other. And we don't want to have that kind of situation because, I don't know, some analysts have actually expressed the fear that if care is not taken, this Israeli-Palestine issue could trigger a third world war, which, the world will not be able to survive. This is the issue. And so I think, the United Nations, still has a moral responsibility to make sure that something is done to address this particular problem. I don't like the sort of hypocrisy and the sort of, internal, politics that is going on as far as this issue is concerned. The point here simply is that countries, both countries are losing civilians. We cannot, for whatever reason, support the attack of Hamas on Israel, because at the end of the day, it was civilians that were affected. And then when Israel decided to fight back, it was also civilians that were affected. This is the issue. And so at the end of the day, you discover that politicians in these two countries are not affected in any way. It is you and I, the common people, who actually have been or will always be at the receiving end of some of these ugly developments and things like. I do understand that, according to Hamas or according to Palestine, of course, there have been attacks by Israel on, Palestinians in villages, in Palestinian neighborhoods. There have been attacks by Israel on the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And of course, the Al-Aqsa Mosque is as far as my little knowledge of Islam is concerned, the third most important place to Muslims around the world. I think behind after the Kaaba and some other places and things like that. This is the issue. And of course, it's not just, a significant place to Muslims. It's also a significant place to even the Jews. You understand? This is the issue. So there has been, a long-standing dispute over the real ownership of the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound. You understand? There's been a dispute over the real ownership of the place between, the Jews in Israel and of course the Muslims in Palestine. This is the issue. So it's one place that actually bears relevance to both groups, and things like that. So I don't know what's actually going to happen, but I think, and without prejudice against anyone, I think the point has already been made, except if we want to sweep these issues under the carpet. The point has been made that, occupation is illegal. The United Nations, and that is also why some commentators have actually called on the United Nations to make sure that international laws are actually respected as far as this issue is concerned. Because at the end of the day, we all know who owns Palestine. We all know who owns the Gaza Strip. We all do. History, the historical facts are there. This is the issue. But of course, like I did mention, some countries, for inextricable reasons have decided to actually support a people against another people who have actually occupied or had occupied, this particular place for hundreds of years before the advent of another set of people and things like that. So I think we need to stop politicizing this issue so that the world can have some peace and be able to breathe.
Doro, when you mentioned the fact that some people might be cashing on this, I was like, okay, it's not just about the occupants and the owners of these very places. Is it not so much about people just, trying to get one or two things from there? When you said, okay, what does it benefit the ordinary man? But of course, if such continues for over a very long time, it means that someone is actually, getting something from it.
Definitely.
And then again, one other angle to this whole issue is that there is hardly any country who would do such against the other country without having external support of other countries.
It's not possible.
It's hardly possible. There's hardly anything like that. And if you bring it back to Plateau, also you begin to, should we replicate the same thing? Should we begin to think that, if we continue to have issues, misunderstanding, conflict, violence, and things like that on the Plateau, is it possible to begin to think there is some sort of external influences to have this continue on the Plateau? I don't know if you have anything to make of that.
When you talk about, I think we've mentioned this several. Could be. I mean, when you talk about some of the wars or some of the internal conflicts going on, within national frontiers of countries and things like that, you cannot. There are always external dimension to the whole thing. I did mention, imperialist tendencies, seem to be setting the world, against. I mean, seem to be setting countries against each other. This is the issue, and I think even from an expert perspective, it has been established that sometimes countries decide to instigate wars in other countries just to have opportunities to pursue, certain imperialist motives. This is the issue. It has been said severally that. The United States, for example, and other technologically developed countries around the world sometimes actually sponsor, terrorist or insurgent tendencies in other parts of the world just to have opportunities to actually market their weapons, and things like that, which they produce in large quantities and all of that. Sometimes it could be done, as a smokescreen. I mean, as a pretense, sometimes, crises or conflicts in other parts of the country are instigated, sometimes in order to pursue some economic motives and things like that. Even when commenting on the issues of, the banditry that have, ravaged part of Zamfara, Katsina, Yobe, and other parts of the northeast and things like that. There are experts who have been of the view that, there could be some countries that are, seeking to cash in on these conflicts and things like that, because some of the places affected by these conflicts are actually, rich in mineral resources and things like that. So, these are some of the issues. And I do remember when the Gulf War actually did happen, when, of course, this person, was it Saddam Hussein? Yeah, when Saddam Hussein was accused of actually, possessing a nuclear weapon and things like that. At the end of the day, it was discovered that there was no nuclear weapon in Iraq and all of that. But of course, it was later understood
to have
that
a base with which to fight
this is the issue. It was later understood that Britain was only interested in actually accessing the oil in Iraq and things like that. These are some of the issues. So you see, at the end of the day, I think, like I did mention, political, and imperialist factors have been behind some of these issues. So whether we like it or not, the Israeli-Palestine, war is translating into some strategic benefits to certain countries and things like that. Who knows? Perhaps America is using this to be able to bolster its image, as a global, actor and things like that. And then Iran might also be taking advantage of the situation to actually also bolster its image, as a regional hegemon, and things like that. Because as far as recent information is concerned, Iran actually is now emerging, as a regional hegemon within the Middle East and things like that. And so, I think at the end of the day, this is what is going on. So, I think there's a need for some sort of quick intervention on the part of supranational institutions like the United Nations and things like that, so that the world can actually have some
yes, peace. Sincere intervention.
Yes, sincere and genuine intervention.
Yeah,
that's the word.
Now, it's not as if I'm not interested in bringing up some other issues that we have on the national dailies, but of course, still on this issue, what do you think would be your call to Nigerians, most especially now that this whole Israel-Palestine issue is being, colorated so to look like a religious kind of a thing? What would be your call to Nigerians so that we support the fact that let's wake up and let's rise to fight, to condemn every act that is done against humanity and not just because of religious affiliations? Maybe we do this in the next 2 minutes, so we'll be done with this segment.
Well, let me just say that the best we can do as Nigerians is to play, and I don't love the internationalization of some of these issues, and this has been our curse over time. I've seen this happen severally. there were points in time when a certain person, was it in Denmark or somewhere, who decided to do a cartoon of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and yeah, it was very provocative and things like that, right? But I had thought that Muslims in Nigeria and other parts of the world, would only probably condemn the act, but not engage in outright confrontations with, their Christian counterparts and things like that. But in some parts of Kano and other parts of Nigeria, some Muslims, right? Ill-informed Muslims and things like that. This is the issue. Now, I do condemn in totality, any attempt to ridicule or rubbish, any religion. You understand? We will not advise Muslims who want to rubbish, Jesus Christ, whom we believe strongly in. We will not also advise Christians to want to do something to rubbish, the image of Prophet Muhammad, whom we so much believe in and have, so much reverence for and things like that. This is the issue. But I also want to say that if some miscreants or some ill-informed Christians or Muslims somewhere do something, I think the best we can do, as Muslims or Christians in other parts of the world, is to condemn verbally, is to come out and say, this is not right. It is not right to, want to portray adherents of a certain religion in a certain manner. It's not right, right? But to want to engage in outright confrontation, on behalf of, because, if a Muslim somewhere does something, how is it the business of the Christian here? In Nigeria, for example, if a Muslim is guilty of something that probably some Christians somewhere are not comfortable with, how is it how is it the responsibility of the Christian in Nigeria, right? And if a Christian somewhere does something, if a Muslim somewhere does something, right, that some Christians somewhere feel they're not comfortable with, how is that actually the responsibility of the Muslim in Nigeria? This is the issue. And so I feel that we should stop internationalizing, some of these issues, right? If something happens somewhere, let it stay there. Now, if we want to show some sympathy or solidarity, we can do that, but verbally and diplomatically. But wanting to fight the wars of Nigerian Muslims wanting to fight the wars of some Muslims somewhere, or Nigerian Christians wanting to fight the war, of some Christians somewhere, it doesn't actually make sense.
So whatever happens, we still remain Nigerians, and of course we must do our best to promote national developments, and that's what we're calling for on this platform. And thank you for staying tuned with us on Unity 93.3 FM and TV. Now it's time for us to go on a short break. When we go and return, it's going to be a whole time for another topic for discussion. So do stay tuned. Thank you.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion? How was your...
Please pay attention. It starts from the foundation. Everybody needs somebody. You turn a blind eye and care nothing less. Say it's just business, all about the money. You are so unbothered as long as they pay. Say it's just business, all about the money. You know they're on a fast lane, but you've got business to run. So you look away the other way.
It concerns you. It kill love, it kill dreams. It land people for jail. War against drug abuse.
Are you bored and need some company? Get a TV experience like no other on Unity TV. We are turning up the hits with captivating TV shows, electrifying political programs, music, movies, and lots more that will leave you craving. I'm sure you want to know more. Tune in to Unity TV today and let the excitement take over.
I was the head boy in my primary school, senior prefect and best graduating student in my secondary school, but drug abuse almost ruined my life.
I was on an average of 2 grams of cocaine per day.
I was taking 8 ampoules of pentazosine daily.
European shisha, cocaine.
I became a user, a dealer, and a gangster.
I saw other users drowning. I knew I didn't want to be like them, but I was already trapped.
My family disowned me.
My employment was terminated.
I sold my car, sold my house. I'll go out well-dressed and return shoeless, shirtless in exchange for drugs.
I was saying things that were not real, and I once stabbed myself because I felt something crawling under my skin.
I contacted NDLEA and started therapy.
I spent 3 months in therapy.
I spent 8 months.
It's easy to relapse, but your mind has to be stronger than the cravings.
Drugs does not love you. You are not the one using drugs. Drugs are the one using you. Say no to drug abuse.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion?
Thank you so much for staying tuned to Unity 93.3 FM and of course Unity TV from the city of Jos, Plateau State, Nigeria, the home of peace and tourism. We are reaching you live today, Monday, the 9th of October 2023. And of course in the studio, I'm so happy because we have a very interesting topic for discussion, that which has to do with you and my very humble self. Beatrice Adamoyi remains my name, your anchor for Unity Trend this lovely Monday. In the studio, it has been Malam Muhammad Jos, a geographer, a blogger, and a social commentator. Once again on this segment, I'll let him say another big good morning to you out there, our listener and our viewer.
Good morning. Good morning to our listeners here. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Oh, thank you very much. We have a topic for a discussion this morning. Before I give it to you and then we begin the discussion straightforward, I would love to introduce, because I am being joined in the studio by a gentleman. He is that who is an expert in IT, and he is by name Muhammad Amar Haruna. We'll be discussing something very, very interesting too, and then it has to do with Unity Media Academy. He's going to say good morning to you too. Good morning.
Mr. Beatrice, good morning, and our listeners, a very good morning to you.
Thank you very much. The discussion begins now. You know, rains, to us, rains are gifts from God Almighty, and we are so happy each time, each season for rains. And some countries in this world never have rains, and some would do maybe once in a time where we call rainy season. They have it just once. You know, it's so important. But sometimes, of course, we wonder how, you know, is rain color? Is it colorless? I don't know about this. I have someone in the studio. He'll be telling you if rains are colored or colorless. Let's begin with my guest here. Last week, Malam Muhammad, last week we had a rainfall, and then it's color. It's so colored that everybody, that was the conversation in town.
Yes.
And everybody was talking about it.
Yes.
In fact, I had to tell some people, try not to make use of this until we get to know if it has any effect on us. So, can you tell us about the rain we had? Colored rain, so to be specific.
Okay, sir. Actually, we all know what rainfall is all about, but we don't know how the rain is formed. So, I'm here to discuss how rain is formed.
All right.
First of all, we have different ways in which rain are formed.
All right.
We have conventional rainfall. We have orographic or relief rainfall.
Wow.
And we also have cyclonic or frontal rainfall. So these are the three major types of rainfall we have according to the mode of their formation.
All right. So the rains, according to their formation, you're giving it to us now.
Yes.
So I'm so keen. I really cannot wait for you to get to the fact that the kind of rain we had last week in the city of Jos.
Okay.
So which of these?
Okay, actually, what happened last week is that, you know, as I mentioned, the three major types of rain. The first one, which is convectional rainfall.
Yes.
Normally, what used to happen in convectional rainfall, it is the sunrise that hits the surface of the earth and the surface of any water bodies, including oceans, sea, dams, and so on. When it hits the surface of the oceans, it will evaporate. So that evaporation will rise up to the atmosphere. When it rises up, it cools.
Okay.
When it cools, the condensation will take place. When condensation takes place, then we start seeing what we call rain.
All right.
This is for convectional rainfall.
Convectional rainfall.
Then the second one, we call it cyclonic or frontal rainfall.
All right.
So this type of rainfall normally happen when two different air masses meet together.
Okay.
It's just like human being. We have man, we have woman.
All right.
So when man and woman meet each other, they produce what biologists call zygotes. That is baby. So we all know the process of producing human being. I don't want to go deep into that discussion.
Okay.
Because I'm discussing geography here.
Yes.
So for rainfall, when these two air masses meet, the first one we call it continental air masses, and it's normally coming from Sahara Desert. While the second one we call it maritime air masses. So when these two air masses meet, they rise up. When they rise up, they cool, and condensation will take place. When condensation takes place, saturation takes place, the rain will start falling.
All right.
So when condensation takes place, if the temperature during that condensation is less than 0 degree, the rainfall that we receive is ice. Because it's less than 0 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
And normally when the temperature is less than 0 degrees Celsius, the water will be in form of ice, in form of freeze, and so on. So this is the second type of rainfall.
What's the name you just called it?
We call it either cyclonic rainfall or frontal rainfall.
Thank you very much.
It occurs as a result of meeting of two different air masses. One is coming from Sahara, which is continental air masses, and the second one is from maritime air masses, which is coming from ocean. So when these two air masses meet, they form what we call clouds. So when they form the clouds will cool. When it cools, the temperature will drop. When the temperature drops to less than 0 degree, the rain that will fall at that very moment is in form of ice.
Okay, let's just get the... I really cannot wait. Let's get to the third one, I think.
Okay, no. Yes. Under the second one,
yes,
as I mentioned, the air masses are two.
All right.
The continental air masses or intercontinental air masses that used to come from Sahara, it used to carry dust. It carries different soil particles.
All right.
So you know dust and soil particles are of different color. Some of them are red, some are brown in color, some are black, some are green, some are even red. It depends on where it comes from. So as the air is coming from the Sahara Desert, anything it comes in contact with, it brings it together.
All right.
So when it brings it together and meet with its colleague, that is maritime air masses. When they meet, at that place that they meet, they rise up, they form the cloud. So when that cloud is formed, the rain that will fall at that particular place will be based on the color of that particular air. If the soil particle that continental air masses carries is black, that rainfall that will fall at that very moment is not white, it's black.
Okay.
If the soil particles, or the dust, or the haze, or the mist, the fog, all those terminology in geology or in geography, if all those particles or soil particles that are suspended on the atmosphere is black, the rainfall will be black. If it's green, the rainfall will be green. If it's brown, the rainfall will be brown. So that was why last week, here in Jos, the rainfall that we experienced or that occurred last week here in Jos, to some extent, is as a result of this Sahara Desert or Sahara wind or air masses that meet, and it comes with contact with different soil particles. As we can see how the cloud is formed, if you look up at that very day, you'll see the haze, you'll see dust, you'll see chlorofluorocarbons, you'll see aerosols such as mist are all suspended in the surface of the earth. So normally when all these particles are suspended in the earth, and when rain starts falling, all those suspended particles will come down.
All right. Okay.
Then the next one, we call it relief or orographic rainfall.
Okay. In a moment.
This relief or orographic rainfall is normally as a result of the wind or air masses that actually used to come from marine or maritime air masses that used to come from water or oceans or any water body.
Okay.
So that air, when it comes and hits the surface of a hill or mountain. When it hits the mountain or a hill, it will bounce up. When it bounces up, it will form the clouds.
All right.
When it forms the clouds, the saturation, cooling, condensation will take place, and we later on experience rainfall. Here in Plateau, we normally used to have this type of rainfall because Plateau is known for mountain.
All right.
It's a highland.
Okay.
There are so many mountainous environments here in Plateau. That is why sometimes you see rainfall here in ZINARIYA, but if you go to Terminus, you won't see any rain.
Yes.
It's because of the mountain.
Right.
In an environment where there is mountain, there is a possibility of having rain in particular
More
community,
frequent.
and in other community you won't have anything. It is because of the presence of the mountain and hill. So the hill and mountain are two different things.
Okay.
Normally, according to experts, anything more than 300 meter is called mountain.
All right.
And from 300 meter above the surface of the earth is called hill. So if a cloud is formed as a result of that weather or as a result of that air masses that hit the surface of the hill or the mountain and form that particular cloud, the rain we are going to have is called relief or orographic rainfall. And this type of rainfall that we experienced here last week.
Please go on. I really want to know.
Okay, we experienced last week. We also have it as a result of the climate change. Because normally in other parts of this country, places like Sokoto, like Jigawa, Yobe, Maiduguri, they are used to this type of rainfall. If you go there, you ask them, most times before they receive any type of rainfall, they must see dust. The road or the water looks dark in nature. Sometimes it's brown, sometimes it's blue. It depends on the soil particles or the suspended particles in the atmosphere.
Okay.
So it is only here in Jos that we think it is a new thing. And it is not a new thing, it's other places.
Oh, mine. I think I have some relief now to hear from you that to us on the plateau is a new thing, but
Yes.
to other states within this same country,
Yes.
It's not new
It's
to
not a
them.
new
But
thing.
let's quickly talk about has this any effect?
Yes,
Or, is
it
it
has.
dangerous?
Yes, it is.
Oh
It has
my.
effect.
Okay. Let's
Normally, before I tell you the effect of this, there are other two parts of rainfall.
Please, very quickly because
Maybe
time.
I will just to discuss about the acidic one.
Please go.
Sometimes
on.
we have acidic rainfall. This acidic rainfall is normally happen in an environment where there is high concentration of industries. You know, when we have industries, they used to release hydrocarbons. The smoke from those industries, motorists, is also rise up. When it rise up, it forms clouds. So when those air masses come, it used to come with those industries hydrocarbons. When it comes, it brings it to other places.
Contain rain.
No, as in air masses.
All right.
As the air is coming, it come in contact with those hydrocarbons from those industrial concentration area.
All right.
So when it comes, it forms that particular cloud. It forms clouds, the rain will start precipitating. So when the rain falls, that rain, it affects animals, it affects human being. So it affects human being in the sense that any person that has disease or sickness of lungs or anything that has to do with heart, such as asthma and so on, it affects them. So it is advisable that if you see any color of water or any change in color of water
that you are used to having,
because naturally water is tasteless, water is odorless, water is colorless.
All right.
So if you see any color in any water, don't take it. If you see any taste in any water, don't drink it. If you smell the odor of any water, don't drink it. These are the 3 qualities you should know for any water.
Okay, but can you use it for maybe for bathing and
even for bath? If you can cook it to reach like 100 degrees Celsius, it's okay.
All right.
But if you cannot boil it to that 100 degrees Celsius, you don't have to use it.
All right.
You just the best you can do. You should not use it.
So what's your advice?
My advice here is that anytime you experience this type of rainfall, you should not use it. You should not use it. Don't even think of treating it, because we have enough water to use it. Why will you waste your time, energy, and resources to treat water that you can get another one from different sources? And when it happens, you should not make any conjunction. You should not make any speculation. You should allow others to talk about what they know. Don't bring any spiritual or any something about the rain, because all this rain that we are seeing here, as we discuss it here,
yes,
if you look at the Quran chapter 15 verse 22, it talk about how this rain is formed.
All right.
If you look at Quran chapter 7 verse 57, it also talk about how this rain is formed. It is God that made this rain to form. Going by the convectional rainfall, it is also God that made the rain. It's already stated in our Bible. If you look at Matthew chapter 5 verse 45, the sunrise and the rain, it is God that made it. If you still come back to James, where the James in chapter 5 verse 17 to chapter 18, where Elijah prayed, we believe in prayer, because sometimes people think when you pray the rain will fall, when you pray the rain will stop. Yes, we all believe in that. But as a geography student or as geography experts, we also have our own way where we can have chemicals to send them to the sky or to send them to the atmosphere and form a cloud, and we later on receive rain.
All right.
In a developed country, they use iodides, common salt, and so on. They use rockets to launch it to the sky or to the atmosphere, and it forms clouds. After the cloud, the rain will fall. So this is what geography normally, or geographers normally used to do.
Okay. Well, do I say rumor now? A report has it that some people actually have been hospitalized as a result of, using this water in the city of Jos. And so, how, what's your take on this? Is there any hope? How is it about?
Yes. Normally, according to medical geographers, when we receive this type of rain, first of all, we should not make use of that water. And if we mistakenly make use of it, and we observe any changes in our body temperature, we should just go to the nearest hospital. Normally, if you take like chlorofluorocarbon or some content of aerosols, such as or anthropogenic aerosols, such as the pollution that we are seeing here, motorists are releasing all those hydrocarbons. So it is those hydrocarbons, suspended hydrocarbons, that the rainfall pollutes on the suspended particles that pose as a rain, and we take it to our stomach. So normally when you take that suspended hydrocarbons or aerosols, like it will serve as a pollution, and it will definitely harm you. And if it harms you, will just go to the nearest hospital and undergo some treatment.
Mr. Mohammed, before you cap up, before you give us your final words as regards this colored rain in the city of Jos, I would love to have a witness in the house this morning. I want to believe you've been in the city of Jos, even lately talking about when we had that rainfall.
Exactly.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Though you're not a geographer, you're a computer expert.
Well, not only being a computer expert, happens being a natural scientist myself.
Oh my!
I think this is also an avenue where I can chip in the discussion.
Why not in a minute?
Mr. Bitrus, though it happens, let me say, in the middle or towards ending of a rainy season, that was why it was like absurd. It was like odd. But like he said, it's not something difficult. It's not something like unusual. It usually happens, but then on the plateau, unjust or injust city is like a bit unusual. But due to those suspended elements that were hanging in the atmospheric condition in Jos, those things maybe during the rainfall they like mix together and then they come down. And then this rain is not only coming directly from the surface, maybe to the container. It follows through zincs and other surfaces. Now, as a result of that, now 3 or 4 days to that very raining season, to that very rain that raised rancor and raised discussions on the plateau, there were like extensive dust.
Yes, already.
On the surface of the plateau. Now, you can attest to that. We have seen that, and then those very dust rest on the zincs, and then that very rain wash away the surface of the rain of the zincs, and then we collect that very water. So it must be colorful, it must be odorful, it must be tasty. Now, add to that, and then to add to also the chlorofluorocarbon. Now, the chlorofluorocarbon doesn't just harm the human being, but it is also harmful to the ozone layer. Now, 1 drop of chlorofluorocarbon can destroy thousands particles of ozone. And then, mind you, that this very ozone gives us like shields us from the radiation that's coming from
directly
the sun.
From the
so
sun.
This chlorofluorocarbon can not only harm us human, but also can harm the ozone layer. So to add to that, I would like to caution we, the end users of this very rainfall, and then to even tell them that this very rainfall is not like directly meant for our use, the humans. You know, there are reasons behind the fall of this very rainfall, behind the making of this very rainfall, like for plants, you know, for the growth of plants, for the seas that we're having, for the cooling of the weather. But people are quick to collecting rains, and then quick to
want to have a first-hand experience of how it tastes like.
At times people will be like saying that it is cold, it is very cold, it is very thirsty. That thirst alone, you know,
it gives you a reason for concern.
Says something. The test alone says something.
Yes, you know, people were just being jovial in the city and saying, you just need sugar to just put in, and then you have kunu. Yeah. So some saying that, but it's quite unfortunate that we seem not to be too careful when it comes like this. So what's your final word as we round up this segment?
What we normally tell people during rain season is that the first rain of every rain season, you should not take it for consumption, because there are so many suspended particles in the atmosphere
who could be very dangerous.
It could be very dangerous to our health. And as time goes on, like now we are in harvest season, so all those dust and some particles from the farmland is hung at the atmosphere. So any rain that is falling now, don't take it or don't put your container to collect it until after 10 to 30 minutes. When rain starts, don't just put your container. Allow the rain to start falling for the next 5 to 30 minutes before you put your container. Because the first 5 to 30 minutes will clear all those suspended particles. Then you now take the water that you can use for consumption.
Now let's bring this discussion and see what our leaders have to do. Talking about politicians now you have a situation where people depend on rainfall to have supply of water. Yes. So whenever cloud is forming, to them is an opportunity to have water.
Yes.
And most of this water, even to drink, not only to go wash, because to them, if you want to wash, you have to look for any stream that still has some water passing, and then you go wash there. But with cloud forming, to them is an opportunity to have rains.
Yes.
So what would be your call to politicians as we round up? We just have 3 minutes to get done.
Okay. Politicians or government in general should look into this matter. There should be a public awareness, because we used to have a weather forecast station. They used to give us updates about what will happen in the next hours, days, week, or month. So the NOA, National Orientation Agency, should wake up to its responsibility. When things like this happen, they should quickly come to stations like Unity FM and tell you what you should tell people outside here. We have people in the village, we have other people not even in the village, in the city, but they don't know what they should do. So with this awareness, there will be an awareness to all the public. And if anybody is aware of what will happen, we are going to take a precaution and will take out of this quagmire.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Muhammad. You have any word to round up on this? as we close this segment?
Well, to add to what he says, it's not only the government that can be able to disseminate information as regards to these very vital issues that has to do with our health, because water is life. And even professionals, experts like him and people like us can be able to even access or extensively use the use of these new medias to also disseminate information. That's by the use of these social media platforms.
Yes,
we can quickly add to the situation by enlightening people that so rains or so avenue is not really something that you can be able to use. It's something that you need to do this, do that before taking the water. Follow this very process. At least I believe it will help. It all goes down to information sourcing and then dissemination.
Oh, thank you very much. I think I'm very happy. It's a wake-up call to professionals like you. Talking about the colored rain we had last week. Maybe I should just ask you if you did something, but I'm not waiting for an answer anyway, because we have, you witnessed the rain, and you know that can be very deadly to human beings, and of course you know also that a lot of people, are going in the path of ignorance and probably might have used that water, or might be at the point might be using the water. So I would have loved to ask you that, have you done anything to have posed, maybe to share on social media ahead of traditional media like Unity FM before today? But it's not a question for you to answer anyway. I think we've got to the end of it.
And I think that's why I'm here also. Not all professionals have the knowledge or the way without use this kind of social media platform to know the proper way of sourcing information and then disseminating. And I think that is why Unity Media Academy are here. We are trying to use this very avenue to create an awareness, not only those people that just graduated from secondary school, but so also professionals. They should quickly venture, in due time, when we elaborate more about this Unity Media Academy, people will know that it's not just a journalist that can be able to enroll on this kind of courses.
Oh, mine. Talking about Mr. Amir there, you are taking us from this very discussion to another discussion, which of course is connected. And so I say thank you. We have come to the end of this very segment, but I want you to stay tuned because we have a lot to talk about. Unity Media Academy, because you've just heard it from Mr. Amir when he said, okay, having to disseminate informations that would be so relevant and rescue situations is something you need to know how to do it. And so stay tuned. We'll be right back after this short time out. Thank you.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion? How was your...
Are you bored and need some company? Get a TV experience like no other on Unity TV. We are turning up the hits with captivating TV shows, electrifying political programs, music, movies, and lots more that will leave you craving. I'm sure you want to know more. Tune into Unity TV today and let the excitement take over.
Pay attention, it starts from the foundation. Everybody needs somebody. You turn a blind eye and care nothing less. Say it's just business, all about the money. You are so unbothered as long as they pay. Say it's just business, all about the money. You know they're on a fast lane, but you've got business to run. So you look away the other way.
It concerns you. It kill love, it kill dreams. It land people for jail. War against drug abuse.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. been so long since you've been here.
9th of October 2023. You're tuned to Unity 93.3 FM. In case you're just joining on, Bitrus Adamu Ishe remains my name, the anchor of Unity Trend this morning. And so, in the studio, I have been with two gentlemen. One of my guests in the studio this morning happens to be an expert. He's so vast. And then in terms of computer software and all that, give it to him. And though he's not here to tell us about that, he is here this morning, my viewer and my listener, to talk about Unity Media Academy. What is Unity Media Academy? So let's turn to Mr. Amir.
Once again, Mr. Bitrus, a very good thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity, because anything that has to do with knowledge, anything that has to do with skills, anything that has to do with education, it's not something that we should take for granted. Well, they says that knowledge is life. I believe it is, indeed. It is life. And talking about this Unity Media Academy is as a result of our curiosity and worries on how the future of humans will be better than their past. And you know, they says if you want to kill a black man, hide something in a book, and then that's all. We want to change that very narration to let people, to let the world knows that we are no longer those blacks that are responsible for our wars, but rather blacks that are responsible for our betterment of the society. And that is what gives birth to initiation and activation of this very Unity Media Academy. As I was saying before going to the short breaks, it's not how vast or how good you are academically, but so also how you can be able to use that your knowledge to monetize your skills. Talking about monetizing skills, knowledge alone, education alone without skills cannot really translate into money into our pocket, because I believe the overall goal of education is to be able for you to cater for your needs and then to cater for the needs of those people around you. And the coming into an existence of this Unity Media Academy gives us an opportunity to like learn skills. If I'm talking about skills, I'm not only talking about skills restricted to a specific field of studies. I'm talking about skills that is all encompasses in almost all aspects of education. As we're talking about the geographer that we have here in the house, he needs also skills for him to be able to not only use the geography to himself alone, but so also to enable the society benefit from the geography that he is having. It still goes down to what? Sourcing, processing, storing, and then dissemination of information, because information is power.
Yes, it is.
So also, the reason of inception of this Unity Media Academy is to bring together professionals that are experts in the field of journalism, not only in the field of journalism, in other fields of study, to come and undergo an extensive training in the use of media to transmit and disseminate information, which is also key. Those people that are just graduating from secondary schools that hope to have a career in the future academically, is also an opportunity for them to also come in and enroll to also receive an extensive training on where the future is going toward, because this is the future. You are a media expert also, and you know that anything that has to do with dissemination and processing of information is where the future is going towards, and then skills is all about that. So also, even adults or those people that are business experts, they need to like promote and advertise and market their product without really consulting the use of experts in marketing fields. For instance, if I can be able to do it, why consulting an expert, or why contracting an expert that can just come and do the same thing that I can be able to do? And then by the coming into existence of such media academy, those business entrepreneurs can also key in and then learn skills that has to do with that very aspect. And then it has a lot of benefits, educationally, and then in the societal aspect, and then in also the economic settings. You will believe me if I says that in the 21st century, in Nigeria, the way we are using media is not like 100% regulated. because even if regulations are there, the kind of access that we have to connections to internet gives almost everybody the thought that he has now arrived, that he's now an expert, that he can just take his phone, maybe snap a video, maybe post the video online, and the video will have like 500,000, 1 million viewers without considering the effect, both the negative and positive effect of that very video that he is posting online. And then without also considering how he can be able to make the post of that very video, maybe on YouTube, to monetize that very aspect or post of that very video.
Mr. Amir, you're saying now that Unity Media Academy is a sure way for people to begin to have a directions, a path that will lead to having to get money from the things they do. Because now with Unity Media Academy, you are saying that it's going to have people to undergo through training that will position them in a strategic place in terms of media to be able to deliver.
Yeah, giving them an edge over their competitors.
Oh my.
Yeah, exactly. And not only the monetary aspect, we are also looking at the societal benefit, and so also looking at the academic angle of this whole scenario.
Okay.
If I will say this without regret, that the long-awaited dream is now here.
Okay.
We have a lot of courses, a lot of professional courses, and then there are academic professionals that are employed to handle this very training, and so also there is Unity Media, Unity Radio and Television, where we are going to use this very media and TV,
the radio and the
TV arm to like extensively
to practicalize,
train these people that we're bringing on board. And then mind you, Mr. Bitrus, this is going to be an extensive practical, a rigorous practical training,
with which anyone goes through it will never be the same.
That's just it. Once you pass through this it's a life-changing event. And then mind you that we have experts that are there to train these very people practically and theoretically. And so also we are going to make sure that we have improved their communication skills, and then tell you that communication is everything. Now, if I cannot be able to communicate, I cannot definitely be on this seat. And then if I cannot be able to transmit and disseminate what I'm communicating, then believe me that there is nothing there. And then communication is also key in whatever you're doing. So we are going to train these people in not only communication, but so also digital marketing and content creation, which I know you are an expert in content creation, you yourself, and so also I'm an expert in digital marketing. Whatever you're doing, if you cannot be able to digitally market it, you will only be restricted to certain set of people, and then maybe those people are not financially buoyant to being patronize you, and then those people that are financially buoyant that you cannot be able to get the access to them, you cannot be able to sell your product.
Okay. Mr. Amir, before you give us the cost implications to all of this Unity Media Academy, I think just give me a minute. Let me talk to my listener and my viewer. By the way, this is your segment. There should have been time where you are put on the studio line so that you begin to call and make your contributions as regard issues that we've been discussing from the very first segment of Unity Twin. But I apologize. I'll just let Mr. Amir to continue and then wrap up concerning Unity Media Academy. And when he is done, I'll just put on the studio line. Please don't go away. Let's listen to our Amir.
Well, I would like to give highlight of the courses that they are going to undergo, and then the duration. We have like different sets of like it's a skills. It's a modular skills. So modular skills come in installments. You will come and maybe undergo the introductory part, the basics, and then the basics will provide you with all the necessary, will prepare you against the entire workings of the new media. Talking about Facebook, talking about social media, talking about online journalism, and then it will also prepare you to understand the working environment on the frequency modulation channels as FM, and then also on TV working environment. So is a 4-month course in total, whereby it will be like 3-month extensive training, and then maybe 2 weeks of practical, and then maybe 2 weeks of exams. Once you undergo this very 4-month extensive training, believe me, you will understand the working of the new media, of the radio media, and then of the television media. And then the highlights of the courses are like we have online journalism, and we have a use of English, we have digital marketing and content creation, we have speech, act and acting, we have a script writing. That is also a major tool, because on the plateau is believed to be the home of tourism and of peace and tourism, but believe me, it's also the home of entertainment because there are lots of people like the Alunu, the likes of Sunny Danger, the likes of P Square, the likes of a lot of them that were their origin or their field of expertise is here on the plateau. There are a lot of artists, a lot of talents. They can be able to come and enroll in this very media academy. They will learn the act of script writing, the act of stage action, presentations, and then I believe we have the program presentation where you learn how to present program on radio, you learn how to present program on TV.
Are you saying that if I only have passion to present program on radio or TV now, and I've never had an opportunity to go anywhere school, but of course probably I have my secondary school experience, knowledge, education, am I also due to apply? Is it due?
With pleasure.
Oh my.
Yeah, you will be our guest. And then let me tell you that this very media academy in the whole 19 northern states, I'm not mistaken because I have done my research. I believe that this is almost first or maybe second of its kind. That's in the northern Nigerian. And in Lagos, we have something such. Even on the plateau, we have like NTA TV College. But believe me, what TV College are giving is not what we are going to give. And in the whole northern Nigeria, this is also this is something for like the general populace. Undergoing a degree in mass communication, undergoing a degree in subsidiaries of journalism doesn't 100% makes you like ready for any job, like gives you the skills that you want. But enrolling under such programs, undergoing rigorous training in a stipulated timing, Mr. Bitrus, will like put you to an age, even often those that undergo a lot of years of studies.
Yes, thank you very much. I love it when you mentioned ATA College. They're doing their best, and of course they remain a very good one there. But of course, what Unity Media Academy is giving, of course, it cannot be the same as but of course, there are meeting points which, of course, I want to believe you match up all of what you will do within a short period of time, with which you have strategically put things in order so as to have people learning and then having direct access to this learning environment. Okay, the TV, the radio, and then we all have it here.
Exactly.
And people come to learn, to acquire the skills, and also they learn to do it practically.
Even graduate, Mr. Bitrus, do usually come to this very station to undergo their industrial training, their service. And that tells you that they need the skills, even after acquiring the knowledge. So here you are, working in the environment that graduates are coming to undergo. Now, this definitely puts you to an age.
All right. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Amir. At this point, we would just get to let our viewer and our listener to call at this moment, and then we hear from them. Yes, when you made reference to NTA College, that was to some sort of giving them an honor because they have been in existence here, even in just Plateau State, Nigeria. That is not to disqualify their effort in any way, and so is to associate with it, I want to believe.
Yeah, yes, well, the reason for me calling NTA TV College, they have spent years of excellent service delivery.
Good.
We are like also telling the people that
here
now there is a new bride in town also.
All right, thank you very much. So our listener are beginning to call already. So let's begin. A minute. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Oh, thank you very much.
Is that Unity TV and radio?
Yes, you're on to Unity 93.3 FM.
Kabir calling from Delimi.
Oh, Kabir, you're calling from Delimi. Are you watching us on TV or you're listening on radio?
Yes, I'm listening now.
All right, that's good.
The radio.
You have a minute to go.
Your guest.
All right.
Is the Unity Media Academy is going to have how many years of program is going to take?
Oh, thank you. Just keep on listening. He's going to answer you in a moment, please.
All right, thank you, sir. And is it affordable for people?
Very affordable.
Yes, he will give you all the answers, please. Oh, thank you very much, sir. We're beginning to receive calls asking the Unity Media Academy. It's one opportunity you cannot afford to miss, and so Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you very much.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. You're on to Unity FM.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, this is Chris from Nicaragua.
Okay, please, you have a minute, please.
Yeah. The message is to go out in the same time.
Okay.
Let me show that I need my job out front.
All right, thank you very much. He's still on transit, and but so he really don't want to meet, so he chose to call, but we couldn't get him really clearly. So let's continue. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you very much. Who is with me this morning?
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Sadiq Umar. I'm calling from TUNTBE.
Sadiq Umar, you have a minute. Please go on.
Yeah, I'll comment to guess you have spoken very, very well. Let me start by the water that just fall in the past is actually very, very important that some people have used this water and they have been hospitalized because of the kind of damage the water has bring.
Yes.
And this happens because of lack of awareness. And most of our people, when they see the environment have changed, they supposed to consider what brings the changes of the environment. But it's very, very unfortunate.
Thank you.
Due to the lack of information that they use this water and they appear for people. I actually want to comment again on this Unity Media Academy.
Yes.
It is a very, very good one. And by the way they have explained, it is a very, very big achievement. So I'm calling on the people, please. We are in the media century. So if we have to be educated by how we use our media, I think it's very, very recommended.
Thank you.
So we hope that people will patronize this kind of important education in our environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, our listener and our viewer. We have a very, intelligent community of listeners and viewers. This is one opportunity I want to believe you would, be a part of it, because it's something, if you have chosen to listen and also call to make your comments, if you go, have this training, I'm sure you will not regret you did. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Tafe.
Thank you very much.
In the house.
Please, Pastor Henry, you have a minute. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Wow, you guys have spoken exceptionally well. He's up and doing.
Okay.
No grace to his elbow.
Okay.
Kubi, I want to ask a question.
Okay.
Yes, I want to ask, I don't know why science is contradicting the omniscience and omnipotence God. Because most things that have to do with science is contradicting the omniscience and the providence of God. We all know that God created all these things, but why is science mostly contradicting, the omniscience and omnipotence God?
All right. Okay,
and
thank
I
you.
also want to ask about the Unity Media Academy. Although I know, I'm sure he will give, numbers to use of communication.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
Thank you very
yes, Pastor Henry Young T, thank you for calling. A big question there. But of course, you can go on our Facebook page, go Unity Radio FM/TV Jos. You drop your comment, I'll read it in a moment. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Oh, it's good to have you, sir.
My name is Comrade Masu Patrick.
I'm so happy. So happy to hear you.
Thank you for the analysis our guests gave for this morning.
All right.
And even the last report,
Yes.
I was on Friday. Because, like I told my people, when I go to the house, I saw that all the working outside, all of them, the water turned into lake.
Yes.
But the question now is I want to find out from the guests. In some houses, people have tanks.
Yes.
They open their tanks, I create that rain for you, take down the tank.
Yes.
Now, under that kind of situation now, what advice would you give to such people? Because I've seen that many people, that is one type of them, we don't play with the house council. At the end of the day, what are they going to do? There was a report yesterday where the Reverend Father Joseph Abasi was talking about the people that some of them that consume this water that they are shot in the hospital.
Yes.
So I'm just advised that now, you see the that now is very, very, that don't see. Even inside the house, don't see everywhere. Very good. So what will people do right now?
All right.
Avoid all these long them.
All right.
Morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Today we may not be able to take SMS, and so please we apologize. And on our Facebook page we have this one is coming from Ishak Ya'u Kanwa. He said, good morning, Unity Crew. Kudos to your wonderful efforts. Keep it up. Thank you. Ismail Isa saying, good morning, gentlemen of the press and your guest. Honestly, you speak well. Indeed, the current situations can't deny history. Please, Nigeria is battling with domestic insecurity challenges, so please let's manage and face our problems and also find ways to avoid and avert any incoming problems. Thank you, Ismail Isa. And this one from Asobagum Francis. He is saying, good morning, gentlemen. Is another working day against the anomalies continued unabated in the state where laws passed by the state assembly never enforced or died and arrival. The issue of motorcycle and kekena pep in my side, they walked yesterday events over official time. This morning, security personnel were busy confiscated the bikes. Was the enough time for mobilization? Let's do something about it. Thank you, Asobagon Francis. And this one is coming from Richard Agbita. He's saying, good morning, Unity FM. I want to use this medium to appreciate Honorable Danjuma Aziz, member representing Just Northwest, for his good works, on the Barrister Khaled Mufang for his style of sound administration. So thank you, Muhammad Tajuddin. He's saying good morning to the gentleman in the studio. We really enjoy the discussions with the guest for the awareness, and hopefully your people will take notes. Thank you. Abdullahi Rocky Boy Ismail is saying good morning to you all. I'm very happy with this topic this morning. You make my day. Thank you, Abdullahi Okibo. Aminu Abdullahi Shaibu saying good morning, Kulbi and Shaibu Doro and your guest in the studio. I am watching you live from Ricos. Thank you. You can cement. Actually, there is no development without peace. Israel and Palestinians, let's maintain peaceful because there is no ultimately to peace. Okay, good morning, presenters, keep it up. Okay, and that was from M.A. Gunda and Adam M. Umar Shahu. Say good morning. Thank you. That's the most we can take on this. Let's allow our guest to now respond, and then we finalize on these additions. And so let's go Media Academy.
All right. This very Media Academy is here to stay, like I said, and it's also a very vital tool in today's education in transforming professionals and also non-professionals. All I'm doing is now calling the general populace to use this very opportunity to enroll themselves. The
affordability in terms of finance.
Yeah, well, I'm now, after the calling of them to enroll, I'm now going to tell them that the forms are sold at the rate of 5,000 naira.
Okay.
And then the cost for the basic program, that's the introduction, where the program that will prepare them and give them an edge over their colleagues by just undergoing the just basic program is the Bitrus. If you decide you can just go and start making your money, is an ATM that after undergoing you will translate into money into your pocket. It's the sum of 52,500 naira for a 4-month rigorous combined training, both practical and theoretical aspect with the workings environment, and we have a practical grounds, a lot of practical courses. That's that. And then after undergoing the basics, there is needs. Some people will see the needs, because after, if they come and witness the greatness that is going to happen there, I believe me that they would like to expand their knowledge. And then we have advanced programs that are coming soon, like acting, like solid script writing, like online journalism, like digital marketing and content creations. We have advanced program on such courses, but the money for the advanced programs we are yet to decide on. But the money for this very basic program is 52,500, and then the contact person, I'm the authorized person on behalf of the Media Academy.
Okay.
And then if anybody calls, he will get me directly.
Okay, please.
Yeah, my phone number is 081 31 61 3453. 081 31 61 3453. Once they call, I'm the one that they will get online, and then I'm going to give them whatever they need. I'm going to make it easy for them to get the forms, make it easy for them to enroll in the academy, make it easy for them to learn. I believe God is going to guide us through all these very aspects.
Oh, thank you very much. In a minute, please, the geographer.
Okay, I would like to answer the question about why science is contradicting religion. So we scientists, especially here in Nigeria, you know Nigeria is a religious country. So many things we do here, we used to bring some part of Bible and...
Is that why you mentioned actually you caught it from...
Yes, I even caught, I caught in Bible James chapter 5, verse 47.
All right.
Where Elijah prayed for rain not to fall for 3 years, and rain did not fall. If you go to the next verse, that is verse 18, Elijah also prayed for rain, and it later on the rain fall.
Okay.
So I also caught from the James, from the Matthew chapter 5, verse 45.
All right.
Where the God told us that He is responsible for the rising of the sun and the rain formation. So we, the geographers, what we normally do, we only read Quran and Bible. We get some information from them, and we did some logic, science, some research, some analysis based on the available data we have. Then we make our own conclusion. Sometimes when where we used to make artificial rainfall, when we take our iodine, potassium, common salt, and so on, when we send our rocket to sky, it form clouds. What we normally believe, it is only God that will make that rain to fall.
All right.
It is always stated in chapter 15, verse 22 in the Quran. We just know the process. If you take how the air is moving, we match them together, we send them with the cloud will form, and we will receive our rain. So if government wish, it can decide to form their own rain here, but it is only God that produce the rain. We only go for the process, and later on, this is the only thing I can say. For more information,
thank you.
Maybe you can meet me
contact Unity FM, and then we get you in touch. And thank you very much, the geographer, Mr. Muhammad, for coming to the studio, and Mr. Amir. We're so happy to have you in too. I will continue to discuss on Unity Academy. We will do our best to make sure the right people whom this was meant for gets to reach them, and so they get to enroll. And so thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and everyone who made it possible for this productions to be a success, we appreciate our very own people, Shamsuddin Kaber, Alamin Kaber, and our GSM, DJ Bass. We appreciate all of you for being there. Stay tuned for other programs on Unity 93.3 FM and TV. Bye-bye.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead.